This is David Oliva with the Body Lab, and I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Tony Orfatelli. And today we're going to be talking about how metabolism affects building lean muscle without putting on excess body fat. So today we're just going to jump right in.
How you doing, Dave?
What's up, Tony? I know we're touching each other these days. You know, can't even
I just got tested recently, so we're good.
You know, Tony here, he's successfully lost like what, 30 pounds or something like that?
Yeah, about 35 pounds.
Right? And you know, so now he's at a point where he'd like to build some lean muscle. First attempt, you know, he did on his own, and you know, he put on weight, he put on muscle and fat, but he didn't really put on lean muscle like he thought he was, you know. Me being like an expert in metabolism and working with like thousands of people, I can say that I was impressed by how well Tony kept good records of how he, his macronutrition, his calories. He had a really good daily diary, you know, tracking all this, and he also tracked his weight and body fat using a body fat scale. So we were able to see what he lost on the way down, like how much weight, how much fat he actually lost, and you know, he did lose a little bit of muscle, not too bad. When Tony was on his weight loss phase, he went from like 210 to like 170, and we noticed that on the way down, the first time he reached 180, he had like 140 pounds of muscle. Now, once he reached 170, and he's on his way back up, you know, 172, 175, and eventually, again, he hit 180, we noticed this time he had less lean muscle. He had like 137 pounds or something like that. We're going to show you on the screen. So that's a problem. You know, he had less muscle when he was trying to build muscle than he did when he was just in weight loss.
But the data all said that I had less muscle coming back up to 180 than I did on the way down. And it's mind-blowing to me. I didn't even catch it until you pointed it out, but that's the crux of the problem.
Right. And there's a reason for this, and you know, we're going to explain this more in detail, but it has to do with your metabolism. When Tony started his weight loss phase, his metabolism was higher. When he got to 170, his metabolism was slower. At that point, that's when a person needs to focus on bringing their metabolic rate back up so that you can build more muscle faster. He's seen a post we did on YouTube or Facebook, and he decided to come meet with us, and so now we're going over like how to do this a little differently. So Tony, why don't you share a little bit of your experience? You know, again, you were really successful in getting the weight down and tracking everything. So tell us a little bit about how your struggles here. Like, you know, like you wanted to like build lean muscle. In your own words, just kind of like tell us your experience of what you've been going through the past year.
Okay, so I lost the weight, and at some point I decided I had hit my goal weight, and I wanted to build back up, and my goal was to get to 185, but be at the same body fat percentage that I was at my lowest weight, which was around 16% body fat. And I felt that was a pretty good thing. I mean, could I go lower? Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. But so through my app that I've been tracking, and I have over 300 days of tracking what I've eaten, my macros, all of that, and my body fat scale, I turned it around. I joined a gym. It was about in October, and my calorie level went from 16 something a day to about 2,700, according to the calculators and, you know, the app's calculations of my height and weight. I was putting on weight, and everything felt good at the gym, but my scale was telling me that I was getting to 185. I was almost at 186 when I came to you, and my muscle level was, as you said, it was a little bit slightly lower, and I felt like, why is my body fat going up so rapidly on the scale, but my muscle size is not? And so it was at that point that I realized that something's off. My macros are off. My metabolism calculator is not for me. It's just a generalization, and I needed some expert advice on precisely what is my metabolism doing? You know, did I damage it on the way down? Because obviously your metabolism, you know, it slows down as you diet. survival mode kicks in and all of that. So that's why I came to you. I didn't have the information, and I didn't want to spin my wheels at the gym. I wanted to move forward and get to my goal of being 185, 190, even at 15% body fat. So that's why I came to you, and that's where we're at.
So that's where we're at. That's perfect. Thanks for that was a really good description of like where you were and what you did and like where you're trying to get to. And I think a lot of people out there can relate. You spend all this time in the gym. You're tracking everything you're eating. You're watching all the videos on YouTube. You're trying to apply all the information that's out there. With the Body Lab, it's a little different because we like one of the first things we did with Tony is we actually measured his metabolic rate, and by doing that, it tells us how many calories his body needs to maintain itself. More importantly, it tells us what he's using for fuel. A lot of times when we start dieting or something like that, we like to think that we're burning all fat, but it's really not the case. And with a metabolic analyzer like this, not only does it tell us how many calories he's burning per day in real time, it tells us how much of those calories are coming from fat and how many of those calories are coming from carbohydrate. And so one of the first things we do is we adjust your fuel mixture. So if you're using like an app, just a fitness tracker, it's really good at showing you at the end of the day how many calories, but it breaks them down. It tells you how many of those calories are fat calories, how many of those calories are coming from protein, and how many calories are coming from carbohydrate. And with Tony really taking the time and really, using the fitness tracker and putting all that data in, we could see what he's been doing. From here, with the information we got from the report from the metabolic analyzer, luckily Tony was burning fat pretty good at somewhere around 50%, and we're actually gonna increase the amount of fat he can burn each day to like 70, 80%. So most of the calories he's burning per day is coming from fat. So next we're gonna just adjust his macros in his fitness tracker. So he started off at like 75 grams of fat per day.
75 grams of fat, about 130 to 150 of carbs, and I want to say it was 170 protein.
And he was really consistent with that, and we can see how it affected his body composition from week to week, month to month. So now we're going to adjust those macros. So we're going to favor a little bit more fat in his diet, and we're going to reduce his carbs, so that his body produces less insulin. Insulin burns sugar. So we're going to kind of manipulate his nutrition so that next time we put him on the analyzer, it'll show that he's actually burning more calories from fat.
I love the fuel analogy mixture because you and I were both car guys, so it's
right.
It's really, food is fuel, and it's really just like adjusting a carburetor. I mean,
it really is. It's pretty cool.
It really is. Yeah, it's what you're putting in there is how lean it's running.
We're putting him on the dyno. Any of you gearheads out there?
Exactly.
A dyno measures how much horsepower and oxygen that engine's consuming and all that stuff.
People don't think of it that way enough, though. It's a big thing. Food is fuel, and if you don't look at what you're putting into your vehicle,
Right. Down the road, your vehicle won't perform.
Something's going to break down.
Right? So I think another thing, it's really important to make the distinction between how you fuel your body and the nutrients that are in the food that are nourishing your body. A lot of times when people start to eat healthy, after the holidays, and we put on that weight and they start eating healthy, they kind of confuse, I'm eating good, I'm eating my fiber, I'm eating my greens, I'm cutting fat off the steak or whatever, I'm eating organic. All that's good, and you should be doing that, but more importantly, you should be looking at your two largest macros, or the amount of fat you're putting in your body and the amount of carbs, and that's your fuel mixture. Once you work with the fuel, then you start with your protein and make sure you're getting all your other nutrients. But so again, we're going to share with you information that Tony got from the analyzer and in his fitness tracker, how his body composition changed. So this time around, we're looking to put on lean muscle. So one of the first things we started to do with Tony is we started him on a weight loss phase, And it's really just to really get his fuel mixture just right. So as he's losing weight, we noticed that, throughout his whole time losing weight, he was losing muscle. So we're going to keep adjusting his macros, especially his carbs and his fat, until he stops losing lean muscle, and he kind of flips the switch and starts putting on lean muscle with the least amount of body fat. So we're using the metabolic analyzer, his fitness tracker to track his macronutrients, and the body composition scale to make sure that we're getting the desired results. Now everybody's a little different, so these macros are unique to Tony. So when we work with an individual, it's really specific to that person. So we can really dial your nutrition in using a body fat scale, macros, and metabolic analyzer. So
let me tell you, as a guy who's watched hours of YouTube videos, I mean, this is like a big trend now, like how to build lean muscle mass, while reducing body fat and staying in that level.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of videos on there that talk about it and generalize how you can do it. But unless you know specific, which is what you showed me just in our short time working together, unless you specifically know who you are and what your body is doing, then you're really just watching a guy that's generalizing what works for him and kind of puts you in that. But if you're too far to one side of that, then it's just going to be a struggle to get to where you really want to be. So why not dial it right in and talk to somebody that actually can measure and know you?
That's really right to the point. I mean, you could guess your way there. You can use really good educated guesses, or this is like using GPS. If you want to get there the most efficient way possible, in the least amount of time, without all this trial and error going back and forth. Working with an expert and really tracking your data the way we do, being a little patient at the same time, we keep making adjustments until your body is responding the way you're hoping to. So it's a real simple process, but takes a little time, a little patience, but it's definitely better than never getting there and going back and forth.
Right, and we're both about the same age. I don't have a lot of time to screw around, you know what I mean?
Right.
And everything, when you're 20, doesn't have to be perfect. And you can kind of mess around, but, when you get up there and your body's slowing down a little bit and you're trying to do what I'm doing, then you better be
a little bit more on point.
On point, right. You definitely need to use your diet, because that's, 50, 60, 70% of what comes out of the gym. You know what I mean? It's the food and the fuel that you put into your body, and then how hard are your workouts and all of that comes after that. But diet and tracking what you eat, I think I learned that early on, is one of the most important tools.
I could say someone who measures metabolism, a personal trainer, background in nutrition, medical background. With all this, everything that he just said, based on everything I just mentioned, like diet, I would say is like 80 to 90% of your success. Like the battle's won in the kitchen, whether it's weight loss or building lean muscle. You can go to the gym all you want. In fact, you can go to the gym this time this year, and come back the same time, and you can see the same people, and they're not going to look much different. Like most people just don't take the time.
That was a huge thing for me. I didn't join the gym until this October, because COVID had started to clear up and all of that. But I didn't want to be one of those guys in the gym a year from October that had just gone in there. They look exactly the same a year from now. I don't have time for that. I have a family at home, and I'm taking time away from them. If I'm going to do that, then I want to make progress. So
couldn't agree more. So I guess from now, we're just gonna go in and start looking at some data. We're gonna show you, what we're doing and how Tony's progressing. And I guess from now, thank you for tuning in, and we hope you found this video informative. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And we'll catch you next time.